Good morning, friends. This is Lee Kersey, the Simple Georgian. This will be a VR to Gentry Vintage. He asked a question: what was your first experience with being around pipe smoking? My first experience was not around a pipe smoker. I never, that I can remember, had anyone in my family that smoked a pipe. But I did study a lot. Well, I say I studied a lot. I studied some behind people like Charles Spurgeon, C.S. Lewis. I do remember some of the Lord of the Rings stuff. I would watch at some of my relatives' houses when I'd go to visit them. As I grew up with no TV, and I'm fine with that. A lot of people's like, what'd you do? I mean, we had fun. We had toys. We played in the woods. We had, we went out hunting with BB guns and made our own bow and arrows and slingshots and went hunting for squirrel and stuff. We had bikes. We played outside when I was growing up until I started getting into the books as a teenager. And then I started staying inside a lot more and learning. But yeah, we, I watched some of that stuff with Lord of the Rings. And then, of course, during my teenage years, I read a lot of mysteries, Sherlock Holmes, Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew type mystery stuff. Westerns, I loved Westerns. So I seen, people like Lee Van Cleef. That was my experience with pipe smoking. And I do remember going to visit my granddad in the VA hospital. There was a man followed us around talking about he could play music on a Prince Albert can. So I really remember hearing about Prince Albert. Now, whether he was with the chewing tobacco or the pipe tobacco, I don't know. At that time, I wasn't involved in any of it, but I do remember him very clearly talking about playing music on a Prince Albert can. And he had one in his pocket. He'd pull it out and he'd sit there and tap on it and play, a little tune on it for you. And yeah, that was my experience with pipe smoking. And I also wanted to say congratulations to Armchair Ed, Armchair Piper, Mr. Ed, for 5 years in the YouTube world. And really congratulate him on that. That is awesome, man, that you stuck it out that long. And I really enjoy your videos, really enjoy the humor, and all of that. You have, from what I can see, from what I remember on the pipes that you have shown, you have some beautiful pipes, good supply of tobacco. And congratulations on 5 years. And the other thing I wanted to mention is, in my earlier video, I mentioned about some of the artisan blenders, and I forgot to mention Mr. Jim Steffi of Emerson Southern Forge. Ken Byron Ventures and the Briar Fellowship does have a website. Emerson Southern Forge has a YouTube channel. He has Emerson Southern Forge, and then he has Pipe Tobacco Talk podcasts with Papa Bear Pipes, Tim Beaumont. And you may be able to get a hold of him through that, but everybody else that I talked about, Nile of Nine, Cloud Bear Customs, Appalachian Customs, Pritchett Select Smokes, Skinner Smoke Rings, Who Dat Pipe Works. And when I say Who Dat, I mean that's how it's spelled, WHO and then DAT Pipe Works. He makes small pipes, and every now and then he'll come up with a blend of tobacco. And then you have Steve Hazelwood of Southern Roots Briars. All of those guys are on Facebook or Instagram. That's the only way I know how to get a hold of them. That's how I get a hold of them, and that's how I know about the blends that they have coming up. I follow both, stay in touch with them. I'm in groups with them, chat groups and stuff like that. We talk on a regular basis. And between all of these guys, I'm like I said earlier, I'm mingling or interested in blending, so I'm trying to get as much information from these guys as I can, and I want to support, the small companies, because I know how it is being a small outfit. I've had business, off and on for years, and I know how it is when you trying to start a small business or whatever. So I want to do what I can to support these small businesses, and I know some of you is not on Facebook and Instagram. I don't know what to say about that, other than the fact that that's the way that I can get a hold of them and go from there. And I've met these few of these guys at pipe shows, so and via other groups, like I think Cloud Bear Custom, he goes out to Las Vegas Pipe Show, and I've met Pritchett Select Smoke. I've met Appalachian Customs. I haven't met Jim Steffi yet, but he's made 2 custom blends for me. One is called Irish Unily, it's a Virginia Burley, and the other one is called Old Confederate, in honor of my ancestors that fought for the 57th Georgia, and my history of having Cherokee Indian in my lineage and stuff like that, Irish, Dutch, German, and Cherokee Indian, from what I can understand. And so I wanted both of those blends to honor those people. The Old Confederate is a light English with some Latakia, or medium English, something like that, with some Latakia mixed in. I don't know how this STG and Sutliff McBaron merger, takeover, whatever, will affect the 2 blends, but Jim did tell me in messages that he is working on keeping my blends in the mix. He's just got to figure out what he's going to do about the whole leaf component parts of it, instead of the Sutliff stuff that he was using, which is no problem. I told him take his time, do whatever he had to do, get his blends right, go from there. So I wanted to update y'all on that, and again, congratulations on 5 years Armchair Piper and Gentry Vintage. I hope this is a good VR to you for my history and knowledge of the pipe smoking and what I understood about pipe smoking. I've always been interested in seeing it, through Lord of the Rings and Sherlock Holmes. It was always something that intrigued me. And now that I've actually started doing it at 50, which I'll be 53 this year. So now that I've actually started to do it, I see the benefits of it, reducing stress and helping in that manner. So thanks for watching. Talk to y'all later. Have a good day. Bye.